r/ask Reddit. What unspoken rules in society drive you crazy when people don't follow them? When people try to get on the subway before everyone gets off. The same with elevators. I had this happen to me in a public restroom of all places. It was busy and I opened my stall door and the next girl just started walking forward to get in before I could even leave. Could have been worse. I was in a restroom with only 2 urinals and the stall was occupied. There was a line but apparently one guy couldn't wait. He decided to share a urinal with the guy next to me, but didn't tell him. I can't imagine what it must be like to see another stream join yours. Eat with your mouth closed. That wet smacking sound sends me into a feral rage. Best of luck to you if you ever visit an East Asian country. This makes so much sense now. My girlfriend's father is Chinese and anytime we have dinner I swear I could hear him eating from across the house. Parents not dealing with their screaming baby kid in a public place. When I was a baby, my mom and dad were so embarrassed wherever my brother or I cried in public that they immediately apologized and got us out as soon as possible. Now, the parents get pissed if you don't like listening to their kids screaming. My parents did the exact same thing. My mom cannot stand whining of any kind and when my sister or I would start throwing a tantrum when we were little, she would calmly leave the room and let us finish screaming and crying before she would give us any kind of attention. We learned early on that whining doesn't get anyone anywhere. People not throwing their shit in trash cans. Seriously, just hold it for another 100 meters to reach one. Lazy ducks. People who throw trash out their car windows at a stoplight. Want to pick it right back up and toss it back in their faces. Don't want to get shot. Maybe it's an English thing but failing to understand how a queue works. I don't think it's failure of understanding. It's a failure to care. People are selfish and will do anything for comfort and the ability to talk to all 57 people in their group if they so choose. So they lump. In some cases it is a failure of understanding. Queuing is not a cultural universal. It matters a lot in British culture and cultures derived from the same. Canada, the US, and simply isn't a tradition elsewhere in the world. I was at school in Scotland for a year and constantly had to remind friend from Hong Kong that she needed to wait her turn. If there was a clear line, bank, post office, she usually got it. But in a small crowded shop, where other patrons were obviously just keeping track of who had arrived first and therefore when their turn would come, she really just didn't see what was happening. Would it kill you to use a turn signal? Unspoken rules. I'm pretty sure there is a rule for that. You're right. This fits more under unenforced rules. That should be enforced with the death penalty. If you're in a grocery store, move your cart out of the middle of the damn aisle. It always gets me when I turn down an aisle and I see like 3 people lined up behind each other perusing the shelves and every single one of them has left their cart smack in the middle of the aisle so there's no getting around them. This also goes for people who stop in the line of car traffic to have a conversation with someone they just happened to run into. Move. Also seconding the parents not controlling their kids. Some guy was letting his 4-5-year-old run all over the bra panty section of a store today and it's honestly hard enough trying to find a decent bra without a little kid whizzing by you every 4 seconds screaming at the top of his lungs. Also, anyone and everyone who will force a shopping cart up onto a hill median in a parking lot instead of walking 10 feet to the cart return can go duck themselves. Same goes for people who just go duck it and leave the cart in the middle of their space or the space next to them. Nothing like thinking you've found an awesome parking spot and as you go to turn in you find out it's some careless a-hole's cart graveyard. For your last one. Then you get to put your car in park in the middle of the lot. Get out, move the cart, get back in your car, and pull in the space. All the while, there are people getting pissed off at this car that's blocking the way. Then they see what you did. Then they'll probably still be pissed off. So, duck 'em. Here's a little anecdote about a shopping cart douchebag I had the pleasure of encountering. I was on my way out of the grocery store and as I was approaching my car I watched as someone finished loading their groceries, closed their trunk and just kind of shoved their cart out of the way. It went across the lane, down a slight slope in the parking lot and directly into the side of my car. Granted, I'm the type of person that doesn't give much of a damn about my shitty car, but I was pretty pissed regardless. That's just a dong move. What if it had done some damage to a vehicle that actually mattered to someone? Ducking lazy, selfish, inconsiderate prick. It's always escalators with me. Walk on the left, stand on the right. What's so hard about that? Also, people who stop at the top of escalators and take their sweet time moving out of the way. I'm just going to crash into you. It's the laws of physics. I won't even be sorry. 2. The escalator argument is a great one. Same thing goes for moving walkways. They are made to speed up the process of getting from one spot to another. They're not an excuse for you to stop walking. Plus it feels really neat zooming by everybody else at the airport when you're on one. Just generally, people walking slowly in a crowd makes me so angry I growl. Which is all I can do not to slap random strangers on the head. Ducking hell. Driving slow as hell in the far left lane on a 4-lane highway during off-peak hours. I do most of my high-speed passing in the rightmost lane and that's just ducked up. This goes double on Fridays when the Winnebago weekend warriors decide that they are going to do 10 miles per hour under in the left lane because they can't abide thinking of themselves as slow enough to drive behind the semis in the right. I hate Fridays. When housemates leave an empty roll on the toilet paper holder. Not disposing of empty packaging of any type. Bottles, cans, juice boxes, plastic containers. When the consumable part of the item has been consumed, get rid of the packaging. A 4-way stop is not a place to be polite, even though you got there first. If you got to the intersection first, go. If you get to the intersection before me, I will avert my eyes and act as if I am looking at something in the seat beside me, just so you can't try to tell me to go ahead with a hand wave. Thank you for being polite. Be politer and go. Honestly, it's dangerous. Driving is supposed to be as predictable as you can make it. Giving up your right of way only confuses other drivers and confusion leads to accidents. People who have a cart full of groceries in the express lane. Saw someone with a full trolley get turned away the other day at the basket only till after he waited like 20 minutes. It was spectacular. Not a rule, but it should be. Don't you dare try to have a ducking conversation with me when I'm reading. Can you not see that I have a book open in front of me and I'm staring at it? Do you think I'm just trying to burn a hole into it with my eyes? Similarly, don't have a conversation with me while I'm trying to burn a hole in a book with my eyes. Takes concentration, man. If someone lets you over while driving, give them the ducking thank you wave. I'm really paranoid about this. I make sure I do it, and if I don't think it was noticeable enough, I'll do it a second time. I pretty much keep waving until they are out of sight, getting more vigorous until they wave back. A man going to the urinal beside you when there are many others available, and then they look at you and try to make small talk. When I hold the door for someone and they don't say thank you, or even acknowledge that you're standing there with it open, just avoid eye contact and breeze by, at least nod. There are 8 stalls in the bathroom at my office. Everyone seems to pick the one right next to me. Why? Tap tap. You are insufficiently stinky and or loud. When I'm sitting in the middle seat on an airplane and the people on either side of me use both of my armrests, I already have to sit in the beach seat. Can't I just have one place to put an arm? And it only gets worse when the person in front of you reclines their damn seat. And there's the annoying child behind you kicking your seat. Put your hands on theirs. Their arms become your rests. When I have to meet someone, I'll get there a bit early rather than risk being late. So I hate it when people are late. So if I'm meeting someone at 6, I'll be there at 5:45. If they call me at 6 saying they're stuck in traffic, understandable. But if they stroll in at 6:30 I get pissed off. It makes it even worse when they lie to you and give you the classic just left my house text when they aren't even ready to leave. Or when they say they'll be there in 5 minutes and turn up 20 minutes later. You know how long you're going to take. Just be honest with me and stop treating me like an idiot. My personal rules are, if I think I'm going to be less than 5 minutes late, I won't say anything and apologize when I arrive. Between 5 and 15 minutes late, I'll text them. Over 15 minutes late, I'll call them. And I'll always text call before the arranged meeting time if I can help it. It's just basic manners, and I can't believe the amount of people who think it's acceptable to be consistently late without letting the person they're meeting know. It puts me in a bad mood when I have to sit on my own for 25 minutes wondering where the hell they are. Touching other people's cars. I hate coming back to my truck from shopping and seeing some guy leaning against it talking with his buddy. They're expensive machines except mine. Don't touch them. That's what the panic button is for. I did this to some dumb lady at my old workplace. She would go out and lounge against cars to smoke. And one time she chose my car. She chose wrong. I set off the panic button, then ran out there and yelled at her about what she was doing with my car to set off the alarm. I sat right next to the window and there was a door nearby. I went so far as to accuse her of trying to break into it or steal it. I caused such a commotion that her supervisor caught wind of it and got her written up for not using the designated smoking areas, part of our local code to keep people away from second-hand smoke. Victory. Parents who think that it's okay to let their kids run around or make a mess at restaurants, or almost anywhere. Really, the world is not their playground. Playgrounds are. Recently I had my first outburst about this. I was having dinner with a few friends and the kids at the table next to ours kept hitting us with their balloons as they went ballistic, screaming and trying to hit each other with them. I asked the parents to do something and they ignored me, so I spoke to the kids directly myself, which stopped them for about 5 minutes, at which point I just took the balloons from them myself. People that walk slow or block paths really get on my nerves, especially when there are 3 or 4 people walking side by side with no way around then except into oncoming traffic. A bit of consideration for other pedestrians will go a long way to getting on with the day. The door was shut when you walked in. Shut it when you walk out. Blocking or walking slowly in known walking paths. If you're on a sidewalk that sees about 500 people walking by an hour, don't have a conversation in the middle of the sidewalk with 2 of your buddies. I'll open the door for anyone. But if they're on their cell phone and barely walking, I make sure to close it on them once they glance up. I'll hold the elevator door open for anyone. But if they're on their cell phone and walking towards me, I'm letting the door close. When I mean on their cell phone, I don't mean phone call. I mean them reading a text and walking slowly. Here's a tip. Carry a bicycle bell with you and ring it when you need to pass someone. 9 times out of 10, they'll move over. I actually can't confirm what I just said, but I feel like it'd work. When someone reads a text and responds to it while you're in the middle of having a conversation with them, is ducking rude and annoying. Have the common courtesy to respond to your texts when someone isn't standing in front of you, waiting for you to finish typing, so you can continue the conversation you were having. Bringing babies into a movie theater. When people sit down in a quiet room, like a classroom, with their headphones ducking blaring, if I can hear them perfectly fine standing 20 feet away from you, you should probably turn them down a hole. I get really paranoid that people can hear my music when I wear headphones in public. I always think if they can hear it they're going to judge me for my music taste and how inconsiderate I am, and I get all twitchy and turn it all the way down so I can't even hear it. Wait your ducking turn. You. Yeah, you. You saw me standing here waiting for service when you showed up. Don't act ignorant and sneak in when the cashier / bartender / whatever asks who's next. I'm just baffled by how few people I hear saying please and thank you these days. Actually, asking for anything politely seems to have gone out the window with the baby boomers. I have a problem I've lovingly dubbed gratuitous gracious. It mostly happens when I'm in a restaurant and the server keeps giving me plates and stuff and I keep saying thank you after each item. So, he has to say you're welcome each time, and it's just horribly awkward. Now, I'll limit myself to 2 thank yous, after the very first item, and after the last item, if there is more than one server, or whoever, handing out food, or whatever, I allot 2 thanks per person. Taco taco. People who sit in the aisle seat on the train, bus, tram with faveo and make you climb over them with your bag to get out at your stop. It is way easier and more comfortable for both people if they stand up for 2 seconds and clear the way. There's nothing I hate more than when I tap a shoulder, smile, and say excuse me please, and they just look at me as if to say scale me. Beach. When people cut you off in the middle of your sentence and then they go talking about something completely different from what you're saying. They can at least wait till you're done. It pisses me off even more when they cut you off to change the subject that's more about themselves. When people are walking down the road, see someone they know, then just stop right in the middle of the pavement to talk to them as if there's no one else in the world. Have a little consideration, people. Better yet, when people are driving down the road and just stop to talk to someone in a car going the other way, blocking the entire road. It happens far too frequently. When people are shitty to food servers, it's a big reason I don't eat out with my sister. People who go to check out at a store and they aren't done shopping. My local grocery store has a smaller checkout back by the booze. I went to get a 6-pack, and this couple came up with half a dozen items. Then she sends him to go get soda for the kids, 5 sleaze away. He gets back, and then she sends him to get wine, on other side of liquor department. About this time, we've all been waiting for a few minutes, and then she thinks they all need limes for their party, and bananas for the kids, which is on the other side of this rather long store. Clark tells the lady he'll just move her over and check others out while husband makes the trip. I'm the one checking out here, she says. No mom, you're still shopping. These other people are ready to check out. Clark checked out 6 people before I even saw hubby making his way back. Check out at the thing that happen after you shop. It's like wiping before you poop. It just don't make sense. Larry the Cable Guy. When people don't push their chairs in. I work in a computer lab and the walk space can be limited when there are a lot of people there. And when the chairs are right in the middle of the walkway, it pisses me off. Especially when there are 3 or 4 in a row, comma. Well, one of the things that bother me is when people, without any reason, sits beside you at the bus. I'm not talking about when the bus is full, or you know the person. I'm just talking about a plain bus with only you and the driver in it. It boggers me, although I live in a country that's very sour. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.